Okay, we made it. Sorry about the change of locations. Y'all let me know if you can hear me, because I had to set up quick. Went to try and set up in the office, and it is like 100 degrees up there. I was dying, so I moved downstairs. Whew. And hopefully it's not too noisy down here. All right, let's see who we got in here. All right. Jacob, that's okay. Work's important, man. You have a good night at work. Magician Girl 999, good to see you. And from your emojis, I think we all know that's Peachy, who just started a new channel. Go check her out. Bernolda's, good to see you here today, too. Dennis, yeah, go shower up and join us, man. And Magick Malanga, good to see you. It's been fun talking to you the last few days in Discord. I'm glad you found us. And she has a channel too, people, so run over and check out her channel. It's kind of funny because last night I found out that one of the videos I was watching last year on hell was actually her video. So interesting how things work out there, right? So go over there and show her some love. She has some interesting videos, great viewpoints. And she really speaks from the heart, which I like. TC, good to see you again. That's okay. Work to the docile sounds of my annoying voice. Hopefully you learned something along the way. Cloud gazing, good to see you again. Elizabeth, good to see you again. Huzzah! Yeah. Okay, so it's good to know that y'all can hear me. Now, we have a very old air conditioning unit, so it doesn't do jack for upstairs where the office is, and it's loud. So I do have some curtains here kind of muffling it. I hope that helps. I'm doing the best I can without literally cooking and just meat falling off the bones upstairs. So since I don't want to do an impression of a Indiana Jones movie, we'll just have to bear with it. Obvious. Hey, it has been a while. Good to see you. Welcome back. All right. Oh. Okay, this table's clearly far more wobbly than my desk. I apologize. I'll try not to bump it. Namar, man, I've been working. I took a week off from videoing the classes so that I could focus on my personal work. I was feeling a little overwhelmed and needed to get some work on my personal work. So that's really what I've been focused on this week. And it's really been paying off, and I'll be sharing some of that. But part of that, which is really cool, and I wanted to share. So I'll go ahead and share that with you all before we get going. I've had the ideal of going through some of the cryptid and paranormal cases and stuff like that I've investigated, and some of the stories that have been shared with me that I've collected over the years, which is quite a few, really. But originally, when I was doing this, I never had any concept or possibility of thinking I might have a medium to share them with. So in order to get in there and do the research, I always promised confidentiality, and if I was to ever share it, I would need a release. So kicking around that ideal, I've been emailing basically everyone I have contact information for. And I think I started doing that around February. But I actually have started getting a good measure of responses. I think I've gotten somewhere over 20 responses now, giving me the go-ahead to share some of the stories. And anytime I'm getting new ones, I've altered, the statements and everything. So it's like, do you wish me to keep this private, or am I allowed to share this, altering names and locations? Now, all that spiel is because I am considering doing a voiceover style video where I actually do read these stories that other people have shared. Most of them will be the reports and everything that has been given to me. If I can get the ones that I've worked in directly okayed, I'll be sharing not only the story, but my direct experience in that when we actually checked it out. That's if there's anything interesting. Otherwise, it might be, yeah, we went and checked it out. We didn't find anything. That's not really interesting, but I'll tell you that all the same. But that's what I'm wanting to do. I'm wanting to start a new section of videos like that. So if any of you have any experiences or anything like that, I'm going to try and set up an email account where you can send them to, or I'll set up a place in the Discord where you can post them. I'm trying to figure that out. For now, if you do wish me to get them, go ahead and email them to me at workingdragonmystic.com or workingdragonmystic@gmail.com. Because right now, I can, until I get hit with a lot of them, I'm pretty sure I can catch them all and sort them to the side and everything. But to make sure they don't get lost in the shuffle, I do want to create its own email or something. Oh, yeah, this is an old throw someone gave me. And I actually had not used it in years until I was in a pinch and needed to shoot a video down here due to some issues upstairs in the office. So, oh, wait, I needed the room down here actually. And because there's a lot more actual room over here in front of me. Many of you who took the Dragon Magic class, the ritual where I'm actually standing up and turning, that wall's like right here. So this is a pretty open area we don't really use. Well, unless we're playing D&D and we cram all the guests in here. So yeah, I stuck that up as the background and everyone who saw it liked it. So I've just kind of left it up for if I needed it again, which thankfully I left it up because sudden decision to change locations tonight. Someone asked where I got it. I do not know where they got it, though I did find one similar on Amazon under Celtic Dragon Tapestry, if you're interested in it. But the one I found was only like 2 or 3 available, so I don't know if it's still there or not. Is it Ingus? No, it's not. It does kind of look like him, don't it? Well, can I go this way? It does kind of look like him. I actually have Ingus's artwork on this wall over here. I mean, I can grab that and show it to you if you all want. This is actually the room where I'm currently storing all the artwork. So a lot of this week I've been, for me personally, I've been working with Hell a lot this week, getting in touch with her. Well, I can't take credit for this art. If you check out the ruler videos, the individual ones that we've been releasing, the artworks I show in there, I work through evocation with the rulers and an artist who's willing to put up with this. And they do the artwork, and every time they reach a position, they have me take it and actually work in evocation to get the ruler to approve it or tell me any changes they want. And this back and forth goes until we end up with a finished piece that the ruler themselves approves. So it's been an interesting progress. and she's currently working on the last one. So that has been a lot of fun, and it's almost going to be sad to see it end. My brain's already trying to think of other projects to work with Sarah on because it has been a lot of fun. It's been going good, Rouse. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us. This week I also finally have been able to get, we'll call it a good bridge of communication started with the Summer Queen of the Fae, which will make getting that Fae path working a lot easier. Right now it sounds like they're wanting 2 separate path workings, one for each half. So we'll see how that goes. Dude, considering Sarah is a sweet girl and she's giving me a good deal, but I don't know that I could afford all the specialty dragons. Because she is a good artist, and I do pay her for her work because she definitely deserves it. So I have to kind of weigh that against the finances. But I did consider some specialty dragons, I won't lie. And I'm also considering doing a group picture of the rulers in their, we'll say, humanoid form, because not all of them choose a full human form, but we are considering a group picture for the rulers in that. I just got to try and figure out the logistics of that. And thank you, Magick Malanga, because, you know, if you'd ever told me that I'd had more trouble with summer than winter, I wouldn't have believed it. But yeah, it's been a headache. But we appear to have gotten past whatever issues it was, and we're on reasonable speaking terms. So, and Hell's actually had me getting ready and moving things around, preparing for the Cliffothic working to pick that back up. Though she did make it clear to me I'm not supposed to even attempt to start that working again until the 102 class is finished, because she doesn't want me to overtax myself. So it sounds like I won't be doing a lot of class filming during that Cliffothic working, but that's okay. I can manage that. And I get that, because looking back at just the meditation one I did last year, it was pretty intense. So that's probably good advice that Hell's given me that I probably should have thought of myself. But then again, we all know how dense Drake can be from time to time, don't we? So luckily she's there to keep me in line. And then because of that, I did approach Lilith and Samael about exactly if that would be okay, because all they said was fall. And fall's running up here quick. Thankfully, I'm getting tired of this heat. But they said that would work great because they would prefer me to have more focus. So looks like we're officially coming up with a plan. How about that, people? I actually have a plan. Can you believe it? Mark it on the calendars. So that's really been the bulk of my work this week, is jumping through all those hoops, really getting in touch with entities that I hadn't talked to in a while. Answering a lot of great questions that has been coming through the YouTube. People, the channel is growing amazingly. I'm serious. This week, we've got so many subs. You guys got me actually worried that you're going to succeed at the 5K challenge, because 5K was kind of this big number. Let's really see if we can reach this big number. And at the time, for me, it really seemed almost unreachable. But I'm a man of my word. And watching it grow as quick as it has just this week alone, I have a feeling my wife is going to be dressing me up for a live stream because, yeah, you guys are causing a real snowball effect to happen with this channel. And I'm grateful for your support. Welcome back, Dennis. Bernaldus, I am with you. May it come quickly and stay long. I appreciate it, Cloudgaze, and I do. I tried to do my best to share what I know with you all. So I don't know any other way to do it than just talk straight. Luckily, I'm fueled by a lot of coffee, so I can get a lot done. I'm trying to. Oh, I did work a bit with Loki this week. For those who know, I lit the smoker this week. Went outside, did some ribs and a pork shoulder, but Loki decided to scare the bejesus out of me because, like on this wall here, we have some little silhouettes of dragons decorating it, and while I was picking up the charcoal, which is right here in this corner, he just turned one of those little tiny things into a tarantula, clear as day, right in my face. I hate spiders. That was not cool. I screamed like a little girl, jumped, and as soon as I went to grab something to hit it, it was a dragon again. And I could just hear Loki cackling. Absolutely cackling. So that was a lot of fun. But that's really been the bulk of my week. Haven't really blown anything up. Not as exciting as some weeks. Been a lot of fun though. Been a lot of fun. Elizabeth, yes, a bamboo rod could work as a dragon staff. In fact, I know a few practitioners who use bamboo. They absolutely adore it. And honestly, I considered it myself because it is extremely durable and flexible. It's just at the time when I was originally making my staff, I just couldn't get my hands on it. But if you can get you a good shaft of bamboo, oh yeah, I've heard they work excellent. And everyone I know who uses them absolutely loves their staffs made of bamboo. Boy, the lighting down here has just got me all like blasted and bright today. Look at that. Woo. Good question, though. Honestly, you can use anything for a dragon's staff or wand for that matter. The dragons aren't picky on material, so it's kind of a go with what you like and go what you think is going to last you. But beyond those two things, you could use anything. I know one guy, he actually has it's essentially a big freaking steel pole that he's using. I mean, durable it is, but that thing's got to be, what, 10 pounds? I wouldn't want to use that in a ritual for nothing. I wouldn't. Durable it is. Oh, Lord, I look like Voldemort? What the hey? Why is my nose disappearing? No, Loki is not portrayed very well in Avengers as far as that goes. Now, that kind of suave sophistication, fast talking charisma, he's got that. He really does have that. But the just wishy washy back and forth, that he really doesn't have. He's actually pretty loyal to his friends, which is one of the things I want to talk about when I do more on Loki. I did recently film a video on Loki. to share my personal experiences on it. And I'm wanting to do more videos on him and other entities that are, I don't want to do lore and experiences all together. So I want to kind of separate them out, because sometimes you want lore. Sometimes you want to know what they're more like to work with in personality-wise, that kind of one-on-one gnosis. And many times I find that a lot more useful. But I do want to do both. But Loki, actually, if you look at the myths, every time he does something, the gods end up benefiting from it. And this is the theme all the way up until the Lokasana. Now, the Lokasana is thought to be a far older tale. And so we're not sure if it's traditional, if it's Christian influence, that's unsure. But at the same time, if you really read it, you read all of them, and you focus on Loki's character, how he acts, and you pay attention to the reactions of the different entities, including, if you look at the original text, certain texts are almost, they're set aside for emphasis, even spell casting. And when you read the Lokasana through those lenses, you realize that Loki and Odin are up to something in that whole poem. And it really kind of plays out that Loki and Odin knew what they were doing, because Ragnarok is a cycle. It's a process that has to happen. But it's easy to see reading the other poems. The other gods don't want Ragnarok to happen. They want to stop it. They want to prevent it. So the Lokasana is almost like Loki really throwing himself into the fire to be the person to trigger Ragnarok so that that cycle can happen. And I mean, this is something I've talked with a bunch of different people about, and many of them disagreed with me, and some of them went back and they took what I was saying and they read it and they see where I'm coming from, which just makes sense, because Odin, being as smart as he is and as foresight as he has, he's not going to make a blood bond with somebody who's literally going to betray him like that. So when you look at it, that they are literally blood brothers through a blood bond of absolute friendship and trust, that's a big deal to that culture. That's not something Odin would do lightly. In fact, Loki's the only person you ever hear of Odin doing this with. That should be a red flag that he might not be the villain we think he is. We did do tools of dragon magic. I don't remember if I covered how they're used in detail. I think I covered that more in the class, but by and large, they're used to help direct the energy and even hold it, steady it, and balance it out so that you're not just being pummeled and overwhelmed by it during the rituals. Because as some of you know, even small amounts of dragon energy can be overwhelming and can leave some people in tears the first time. So it really does help balance the energies out and work kind of as a grounding, and helps ease the transition between the dragons and the magician. So it's the focal point for the energy coming in, and then it also helps to direct it out and laser focus it as it goes out to what you're doing. Hey, Yana's toenail. Hey, good to see you. I'm trying to catch up on the chat here. Using your own magic versus a deity, that's where you harness, the easiest way to say it is unconscious energy currents. So like you're harnessing the elements, for example. You're just harnessing raw energy and directing it and putting it forward to create the change you want. Whereas working with the deity is assisting you in doing that. And in some cases, people even have the deity do it for them. So that's kind of taking the lazy way out. And they tend not to get the best results that way. Because most entities, if you're not willing to at least help, they're not going to do much for you. But that's the easiest way to break that down. Oh, Loki's a hoot. He really is. Yes, be sure to drop us a like. It really does help the channel. Thank you, Magician Girl 999. Well put, Bernaldus. The catalyst that starts the fires of transformation. Hey, hello. Good to see you again. Yuna's toenail? I'm not sure. I just thought that was your name, so I'm not sure what you. I might be pronouncing your name wrong, but if Yuna's toenail is some reference, I don't get it. Which wouldn't be the first time. Apparently, there's been a few anime references that's been left in video comments, and I didn't get them. That draconic energy, it's intense, and it causes so much of your energy to shift and balance so quickly that even that emotional energy getting balanced out in you, just it can trigger a response. It's amazing and it's healing, it's helpful, but it can also be overwhelming at times. Ooh, well, I know Odin loves to talk and he loves history and he generally won't shut up. Which is a good thing. It's a handy to have. Azazel loves history. Oh Lord. He's usually very professor-like in the way he talks and the way he teaches. But you get him talking about history, and it's like the dam breaks. And he goes and he starts talking about this point in history, and he goes like 5 different tangents of what's happening at the same time. So Azazel's a good one. Well, Kronos is a pretty good one for history if you can get in contact with him. Trying to think here. The first 4 draconic rulers are all great to talk about history because they're all so involved with this planet and they are all older than this planet. So they love to talk about history. Though if I was to pick one of them, Zephyr-Seal, the ruler of the air dragons, he is like a uber historian. And like Azazel, he can be a little hard to keep focused, but he is an excellent person to talk about history with. Absolutely excellent. So that would probably be my go-to, him or Odin. And then you do have the Norns. The Norns are great. Dennis, thank you, man. Appreciate the super chat. Definitely. Here's to you, man. I'll drink to that. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. Cloud gazing, I've seen that and I've heard that a lot. I've never had it happen. Never. Even before I was in Dragon Magic. But I can already tell you these days, I set the ritual space up. Like, let's say I use the Dragon's Flame ritual. I call all that energy in. And when I'm done with my ritual, I don't banish or close anything. I just get up and leave. Because that's energy I want in my life anyway. But then again, I trust these draconic rulers I'm working with too. So if I was to be calling like there's one of the elementals that sometimes people use is called Glob, I think. Glob, Globe. I don't know them well, so I don't know how I'd feel about that. But at least with the dragons, I haven't done a banishing in years. I really haven't, with no issues at all, because I always found it weird that if I'm drawing this energy in to create a change and I want this energy in my life, why am I calling it in and then banishing it? That never made sense to me. And I did some testing, and I actually was getting better results, at least in my personal practice. And that was just what I kept. And when I teach my students, I give them the option one way or the other. But for me personally, I've never had a problem with it. I do that a lot. There's several entities where I'll be working with them very consistently, and I'll drop off for years. But either they'll pop up to me and be like, hey, let's talk, or I'll go back to them, and that friendship's still strong and solid. Now, mind you, I don't do the worship thing. I just work with them one-on-one and build a friendship. But most entities I found don't really mind that too much. But if you want to break the cycle, you want to develop a routine of some kind, and you want to keep it simple. And that's one of the reasons I love the hailing ritual, which I did a video on. I know it's more in a Nordic setup, but you could alter that process. That's the reason I detail it and break apart each process in that video, is so that you can customize it and alter it to a very specific entity. And if you watch the contacting a deity video, I want to say I did Freya in that video, and I think again in her video, her personal video even, I did a quick little, it's just a small focused hailing route to Freya. And you could write something just like that for Aphrodite, that you could sit down and do the ritual inside a minute or two, even while you're in the shower if you wanted. And for Freya's, it's give me a second. It's Hail Freya, goddess of love and beauty, queen of the Valkyries, goddess of war and magic, watch over me, guide me, and teach me to better myself and those around me. Hail Freya, hail Freya, hail Freya. And then I would just follow that with a little meditation every morning when I was working with her, if I had nothing else to do. And if all I could do was that one quick hailing rite, that's all I had time to do, and immediately get up and go, I found she absolutely loved it. And I use that for many entities. Actually, every entity I work with, I have a specific hailing rite set aside. So that's a great way to get a real quick little worship process in and help you to build that pattern to break that cycle. No, Meyer. Most dragons do reside in a plane of their own that they refer to as the Draconic Realm, which I'm planning to do a video on soon. Some of them do choose to reside on Earth, though they do not normally take any tangible form. So they remain intangible and not visible to the normal sight, but that is not the majority. Most dragons, when they work with the Earth, they come from the Draconic Realm, do the job, and go home. It's like commuting to work, if you will. But there are a few that do choose to reside here for whatever reasons. But they do reside in wilderness areas where they can be left alone for the most part. Or, well, water dragons are a great example. They reside in the depths of the ocean where we can't bug them. Eunice Turner, what do I do daily? My daily routine, which I've actually been asked to do a video of my daily routine. I guess that would open with me making coffee, wouldn't it? But ritual-wise, I do the bulk hailing ritual, which I did the video on. Is that video live yet or not? I don't know. Anyway, so I do the hailing ritual, and then I do a hailing ritual that focuses on any entities I'm actually focused on working with that week or that day. So this week I've been doing a hailing ritual for Hell and a hailing ritual for Odin because I've been working with them both a lot. And then I do the bulk hailing ritual to make sure everyone's getting some attention. And then from there, I'll jump into whatever meditation or spell working I'm wanting to do in that morning. And then in the evenings is when I usually do like the larger workings because I prefer doing my larger workings in low light. So that's when I do my Dragon's Flame ritual and any of the evocation work that I want to do. If I can wait till the evening. If I can't, I will just straight out of the gates. I'll go into the ritual room and I'll be doing the Dragon's Flame ritual and evocation work. And the Dragon's Flame ritual really has become my Swiss Army knife because where dragons work with all other entities, and like I said, I've not found any entities they don't work with. It's one ritual that I can master, and it works no matter what I'm evoking. So it's been a very handy ritual for me to have in my repertoire. But yeah, my daily rituals be the hailing rituals I do and the Dragon's Flame ritual. Well, the greater Dragon's Flame ritual usually for me, but that's usually my daily process. And I definitely do the hailing ritual morning and night, and I work with the dragons during those times too. And all in between, I do whatever rituals are needed that day for my research and my work. Alarms are a good way to do it, yeah. If you set an alarm to do a working on your phone, just make sure you set it for a time when you're actually going to be home. Dennis, whoa. $9.99, dude. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Whoa. I need a whole new cup of coffee for that one. I don't know what I done to make you like me or make you so happy, but I certainly appreciate your support, my man. Definitely appreciate it. But yeah, I actually do have alarms on my phone for my morning and evening rituals because I would forget. I forget a lot, so my phone pretty much tells me what to do. Actually, Magick Malanga, that does remind me of a few of the sidewalks in the the Draconic realm that I've seen. So I wonder if you didn't slip into that Draconic realm somehow, which would be pretty cool, or get a glimpse of it. I don't know if you was there or got a glimpse of it, but it sounds like you were tapping into it on some level at the very least. Anubis, welcome, man. Welcome. Trying to catch up on this chat here. Dennis, they actually enjoy working with us because they do enjoy teaching us. They want to see us reach our potential. And also when they work with us, they get to experience this realm, and this is a realm they can't experience. They have no physical body, and this is a realm you have to have a physical body to fully experience. So working with us gives them that sample of that, kind of like we go to a movie, we get to see crap that we're not going to ever do in our real life, but it gives us a way to kind of experience that feeling. So for them, they get that experience as well, and they really do enjoy helping us. Camden, hello, good to see you. Which entities are good to work with for beginners? For beginners, I would focus on entities that are usually known to be, they work with people in their lore. So any deities that work a lot with people and are known to help people are usually a good place to start. Though stay away from some of the ones that are harsher or ones that focus on shadow work or something if you think you have emotional issues. So Freya, Thor are all great entities from the Norse pantheon. Even Odin, though Odin can be tricksy sometimes. Honestly, all four of the draconic rulers are great entities to start with. I know some people put dragon magic up here as advanced, but really, like the Dragon Magic 101 class, if you're new to magic, that's a great place to start. These entities are very approachable, and those first four rulers, they try to only hit you with the energy you can handle. And Magical Malanga, whoa, thank you. Wow. Thank you, Malanga. That is awesome. I'm glad I've provided value to your life. Thank you. You guys are awesome. You're going to choke me up here. That is amazing. I appreciate your support. It really does help because right now, well, everything for this channel is coming out of my pocket. So every little bit helps, means I can do more to get more information to you. I appreciate it. And it's always good to know that I am making a difference in helping y'all out. Yeah, there does appear to be a bit of a competition going on today. Camden, I've never, in all my testing, and I won't lie, we've even tried to make astral projection go wrong. Basically, everything they tell you not to do, we did all in one single projection, and we still couldn't get it to go wrong. The worst scenario we've encountered with astral projection, even soul travel, was at best you focus on your body, you snap back too hard, and it's just like a small energy scramble, which if you ground just like you would when you learn basic grounding and shielding, that usually fixes it. If that don't, go get you something to drink and eat, and by the time you're done eating, you're squared away. It's really that simple. I do not know where these horror stories are coming from. I've spoken to well over 800 different magicians on this topic, and none of them know where these stories come from. And none of them are aware of any actual instances that can be proven that they've happened. And I don't want to get into conspiracies or what, but I know a few of them think it's just a way of gatekeeping to keep the younger people from doing it until the higher ups in their covens or orders want them to do it. I don't know if that's true. I don't want to cast stones on that. But I mean, there are some groups that teach certain things at certain times, and if you're in that group and that tradition, that's that's your thing. But I've never experienced any problems from it, nor have I met anyone who actually has. Anubis, I would say an Astral Sanctum is something you could do pretty much starting out of the gates. Most of my students, in all honesty, that's one of the first things I get them to do, because it works their arcane senses on all levels to create it and to work inside it. So yeah, I mean, if I had a kid, even I know I said there's certain magics I wouldn't teach a kid. Astral Sanctum is one of the ones that I would teach a kid. It'd give them their own little playhouse, treehouse kind of thing, a place where they're safe, they're in control. So yeah, that's probably something I would teach even a kid. Thanks, Anubis. Appreciate it. What's my way of approaching new spirits, Namar? I went over this somewhat in detail with the contacting deities or entities. But my process is to do a little research on the entity if I know what the entity is, which in most cases I do, and try and get an idea of what the lore says about them so I can have an idea of what I'm approaching. But here's the thing. I always take the lore with a grain of salt, because a lot of the lore that we read today doesn't come from the entity's culture. It really is viewed through religious lenses, and me and religion don't get along too well usually. And that, I mean, even paganism, they like to twist certain entities into something they're not a lot of times. So I do read the lore and try and get a ballpark idea. From there, I move into meditation with the entity's energy using their sigil. So I'm just kind of filling out their energy and get an idea of what the energy's like. And I try to evaluate the energy itself. And then from there, I actually reach out and try to contact the entity in my Astral Sanctum through trance work, so that I kind of have the home field advantage, if you would. And I get to know them there. And then from there, I'll move into evocation work and get to know them, build up the relationship more. So I actually do use a process there when I'm getting to know new entities. And most people roll their eyes and they're like, oh, you just said research. Yeah, welcome to being a mage. There's a lot of research. You know, a lot of people make them and they don't realize what they are. They really don't. So I'm not surprised at that, eh? Oh, that's kind of tricky because their personalities differ so much. Let me think here. If you remove the fact that he was trying to kill everybody, Smaug wasn't too far off from some of them. Just that kind of cocky little attitude he had. I mean, it would have been on a friendlier dragon that would fit. If you ever saw the movie Dragonheart, Draco, played by Sean Connery, that kind of comical but serious, wise personality really does come close to what you're going to run into with a lot of these dragons. But at the same time, their personalities differ so drastically from dragon to dragon that it's a really broad spectrum. I mean, let's just look at the first four rulers. Terrafana is very nurturing, caring. She can be that very stern, stonewalling mother figure too. And she never really seems to get in a hurry. She's always taking her time to do things right. Whereas Zephyr-Seal, he's always in a move. He's always hurrying. He's moving. He can't sit still. But he is wise. He's intelligent. And he's always ready to just ramble on and just spit knowledge at you. Though some of his lessons, he will stop talking and he'll get you more moving. He really doesn't sit still well. And then you run into Ingus. Ingus is just bold in your face all around. He's not necessarily always moving the way Zephyr-Seal is, but when he does do something, he always does it in a very big, flashy way. And then you've got Coralegra, who she can be very lazy, laid back, chill, sipping a drink by the beach, or she can turn into that tsunami, that hurricane, just pelting you from the seas. And all their personalities really do differ so drastically. So, but if I had to pick one dragon from fantasy, it'd probably be Sean Connery's Draco from Dragonheart. And I know that's a very old movie, and I don't know if anyone here's seen it because I'm the old guy. But if you haven't, check it out. It's really funny. What practices do I recommend doing before? Okay, before you do evocation, you need to be able to do meditation really well. You need to be able to hold a good, I'd say at least 20-minute meditation. And you need to have at least a solid understanding and control over your arcane sight and your arcane hearing, because any evocation is going to use those, even full evocation, which is your ultimate goal, because you're pulling them to this realm fully, but they still don't manifest a physical body for your physical senses. So you're still going to need to rely on those arcane senses. So you at least need to master those at the bare minimum for evocation. If you can pick those skills up and get those trained up functionally enough, then that's when you can start in on contact evocation. From there, I have my students move to what's referred to as astral evocation, and then I step them up to full evocation. Well, in a lot of ways, that's the difference between mage and witch is kind of opinion based strictly. A lot of witches, they say they focus on herbs and earth and nature and that kind of stuff, which isn't me. But for me personally, the reason I started using the term mage is because I'm not religious in any shape, form, or fashion. I'm not even spiritual, and as many have found out, I have no faith. I am a faithless guy. I really do focus on the science and magic, and so for me, that's why I focus on the mage term, because a lot of people understand mages, they're more academic and studied. There's not a religion behind it. So for me, mage is strictly the science, strictly the nuts and bolts, no faith. Most of your modern day witches, most, not all, have some form of spirituality or religion, but that's not all of them. So again, it really kind of comes down to opinion. And when you're looking at titles, they're not that important. The big thing is your practice, your focus. Are you yielding the results you're wanting? And are you walking the path that is right for you? And by right for you, is it making you happy? Is it fulfilling you? If those answers are yes, boom, kick it. Go right on with it. Don't get too hung up on the titles. Good, I'm not the only one who knows that movie. Yay! It is a great movie. It really is. TC, you're older than me? Okay. I'll take that. I'll just take your word for it. I'm not going to argue that. Elizabeth, the Dragon Code of Honor. Conway presented one. The dragons don't necessarily adhere to it entirely. But I really should write down the key points that they do focus on at some point. The big thing for them is loyalty, respect, self-sufficiency, and responsibility. So by that, they want you to be loyal to your friends, your community, and those who are loyal to you. Now, loyalty does not mean blind, stupid loyalty. So if your friend stabs you in the back and throws you under the bus and they're just a horrible friend, you don't have to be loyal to that person. That's blind, stupid loyalty. So loyalty goes both ways. So does respect. You should show respect to, when you first meet anyone, you should show a measure of respect to anyone, but they have to keep that measure of respect. And as your relationship goes, both of you need to earn more respect. Responsibility. They want you to take responsibility for everything you do, every choice you make. They're real sticklers about if something's wrong in your life, if you're looking outward first, that's generally going to upset them. They want you to look inward first. How can I fix this? Which again comes down back to their self-reliance thing. They want you to rely on you when it comes to getting things done. Because that's all about you owning your power, you mastering yourself, and mastery of self is one of the key points of magic. And every time you rely on someone outside of you to fix your problem, no matter what it is, you're giving away a piece of that power. So those are the 4 major things that they look for. If I was to add a 5th, they actually do expect you to do the work. They don't tend to like laziness. But it's not really a part of code of honor. It's more of a personality trait. But I know a lot of lazy people who work with dragons. Luckily, dragons don't have much of a sense of time. So generally speaking, you can get away with that one. I hope that helps answer your question somewhat. But yeah, when it comes to like self-care, love, stuff like that, they're big on those things. So I know a lot of people do like the term witch. I don't know. It never I like the term. It just never resonated with me. I have heard of Azura Dragon Feather. In fact, I haven't watched her videos in a long time. I hope she's still got her channel up. But I found her channel, I guess it was 10 years ago was the last time I saw some of her videos, so it's been a while. And back then, at least, she was definitely following DJ Conway's books. And from my understanding, she still is largely, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, she does follow a very draconic Wicca path, which it does bring that more spirituality side into it. And at least when I was watching her, she had some really good videos and fascinating videos. And she was sharing a lot of personal gnosis that she got, which I thought was pretty cool. And I think people don't pay enough attention to personal gnosis anymore. That's really where we learn our best stuff, in my opinion. A collab. I've never reached out to her, but I would not be adverse to doing a collab with her. In fact, I think it would be fascinating to sit down and discuss the differences in our practices and why they both yield such great results, and how wonderful it is that these dragons are so versatile. Would be one of the things I would love to talk to her about. So if any of you are subscribers, or I think she even started a group or something, yeah, reach out to her and let her know. I'd do it. I'd do that in a heartbeat. I never thought I'd be on YouTube here with her. That is just one of those things I never saw happening. So that'd be kind of crazy. I might actually have to pop over and reach out to her. The feel, it differs from person to person. It depends on how energy affects you. That's kind of a experiential thing. As far as looks, if you have a predetermined idea of what your sanctum might look like when you go to do the process, generally speaking, that's what it's going to look like. If you don't, then you may just pop into a space that's preset up based on your personality, or you may pop into just like a pocket dimension that has nothing there, and you have to start from scratch. But if you check out the Astral Sanctum video, it goes into all that in detail. But it literally is a place that you can shape and build in any way you want. You can create water, land masses, and make it as big as you want. It literally is your own little pocket plane. Okay, message retracted. What's the longest time I've meditated? Meditated, I'm going to say 45 minutes to an hour. Trance work, on the other hand, I've gotten lost in trance for over 24 hours before, and it did not seem that long to me at all. Harnessing the elements. Yeah, when you're working to harness with the elements, what you want to do is, well, like fire, for example, that's an easy one. You want to learn what the energy put off by that element feels like. So it's easy to get a candle, light it, and actually hold out your hands and work on feeling the energy, not the heat. You want to pull your hands away so you're not feeling the heat. You just want to feel the energy of the flame. And then you want to work on actually pulling the energy toward you. And this is done primarily by thought and focus. So you actually want to see it entering into your hands or moving toward your hands. And then from there, you want to learn to, shape it, direct it, move it. And you really want to start meditating on that energy and become familiar with it and learn it. And you can do the same process with all the others. So water, get you a bowl of water, a glass of water. Earth, a bowl of dirt or a rock works great. Air, if you can't go outside into the wind, get you a fan, turn it on, let it blow in your face. Because air is moving around you 24/7, even if you can't feel it. Yeah, you do. You got to put in the work. It's crazy, but you do. Flatel, the chakra meditation I recommend for beginners is just your simple one where you start pulling energy up from the base. And I usually recommend 3 breaths and then move up. And once you get to the top, what I do recommend is at that point, when the energy bursts out, you let the energy start cascading over you and you're pulling it back in. So you're getting a nice cycle of energy happening. That is the one I generally recommend starting out with my students. And the step up from there that I go is, instead of automatically moving up on 3 breaths, keep pulling energy into that chakra until it jumps itself. So you literally charge that chakra as much as it can go, and then it jumps to the next one. And that is more advanced because some people, they actually suppress the energy while expecting it to jump at the same time. Camden, yes, you can. It's not easy to do. It's not easy to target, and it's not necessarily easy to perceive another person. And you usually need something to target. So you need some way to access the sanctum. So the person would have to give you access. And usually it's some kind of sigil or something that would be used to allow that access. In fact, that was the whole thing we were joking about, attempting to do an Astral Sanctum thing where I was going to create like not my sanctum, but an offset sanctum with a sigil design and see how many people could actually make it to that area, get the details, and possibly how many people we could actually perceive ourselves. That was something I was thinking about doing here on this channel. And it is something I was tinkering with this week. Jonas, I would not recommend projecting into my house. It's not safe. That sounds like a pretty good sanctum there, eh? Nice and simple. I like it. Yeah, Dennis, Jesus is an actual entity you can contact. I still do occasionally contact him and talk to him about certain things when I'm working with clients who, honestly, he'd be the best entity to get the advice from. Though I honestly view him more of an ascended master than anything. But yeah, different people's going to view him differently. I don't judge. Yeah, I mean, it would be fun, and it's a nice experiment to see how well we could get this to work. Because somebody pitched it in the stream last week, and it just is stuck in my mind. It's like that would be too great of an experiment to pass up. So, yeah, I've been working on it. I've actually got the sigil designed. It's up in the office. Apologize, I ain't got it. But I am going to get to working on setting up the party plane, as it were. And hopefully around Samhain, when the veil's the thinnest, so this type of work will be even easier, I'm going to make sure to do a live stream to let everyone know this is the sigil, this is the time we're going to do it, and we're going to see how many people can go there. And I'm going to put very distinctive features into it so that even if we can't perceive each other, maybe we can perceive the features that were built there, if that makes sense. So I think it'd be a great experiment. Yeah, actually, I do. I do have a lot of them that are like family at this point. Most of them are dragons, obviously, but they started like any other relationship. I just either they reached out to me, just like you would, you meet somebody at a bar and start talking to them, or I reached out to them to work with them. Mainly, it was just to work with them. They had a set of skills or knowledge I was interested in at that time. But as we worked together, we found out we got along really great. And we just continued to work together long term to the point where before I knew it, they were family. I couldn't really imagine my life without them there. And it developed organically, which I guess makes sense when you consider I do approach them the same way I would anyone else on the street. Yes, Dennis. I think before I went live, we was already at 1,990. So we're just like 10 from 2K, which means you guys are definitely boosting the subs a lot. Thank you for sharing the channel and the videos. And yes, if we hit 5K by midnight, well, actually, I said 3 a.m. even on November 1st, because sometimes YouTube can update slow. So I'm even going to pad you a little bit for slow updates on YouTube. Then yes, my wife gets to pick an outfit that I have to wear in a live stream. So by all means, share the video, share the channel, let your friends know that, hey, there's this crazy guy over here. He actually seems to know what he's talking about. And let's get this there. Originally, when I issued that challenge, I didn't think you guys would do it. Though seeing how the numbers are coming now, I got the feeling my wife and her friend will be dressing me up. And she has already swindled someone who like professionally does makeup. So I don't know what they're planning, but I have a feeling very heavy makeup is involved. Namar, no, actually there isn't. That is something I was testing when I got into evocation. Energetically and results wise, time of day does not matter to entities. The only thing that matters is you. So if you have an easy time getting into a trance state and doing the evocation, even during daytime, no problem. Which I can do it during daytime. I just got to make sure the curtains are closed and everything, because I really do have an easier time doing trance work in low light conditions. It just relaxes me more and I can get into that state easier. So outside of just me, there's no difference at all. And some people find it easier to do it in the dark. Some people actually don't find it easier in the dark because the dark creeps them out. So they can't relax. So really, time of day is more based on you specifically. The only caveat I would add to that is if you're working with planetary spirits or planetary hours, or an elemental entity, or an entity that is associated with a particular time of day, these factors can make it easier to contact the entity. But again, once the contact's made, it doesn't change the actual energy and power of the evocation itself. So that would be the only caveat to that I would make. We might discuss the one-on-one, Bernaldus. Animan, yeah, the dragons do not. They are in pretty much every universe I've traveled through. They're not limited to our realm. They work with all entities and all planes. I've not encountered a realm, plane, or group of entities that dragons do not work with in some level. So, to my knowledge, if you can find a realm or universe, there will be dragons there. At this time, that's my knowledge. If I ever find a group of entities or a realm, plane, or universe that changes that, I'll let y'all know. But at this time, yeah, they seem to be everywhere. Anubis. So if you work with something and it wanders around your house, will it affect others? The answer is really yes and no. If you dismiss an entity when you're done and you tell it to go out or you say farewell, in most cases they will leave, no issues. If they hang around, they're just hanging around for you. They're not being malevolent or anything like that. That said, it is possible somebody in your house out of the corner of their eye will see the movement and be like, "What was that?" And then they won't see it. That's pretty common. So I have a lot of guests who visit, and out of the corner of their eyes, they're seeing a lot of movement and other things because there are a lot of dragons and entities moving through my house at any given time. Now, will they bother those people? That depends on the entity. Loki, for example. Loki loves to play tricks. Loki will play tricks. If you think Loki's going to hang around your house and not play tricks on people, you're mistaken. He will do it. Now, they may not know what's going on, but he will do it. So you need to be aware of that. But by and large, most entities are pretty chill about it. Oh, thank you, Camden. Appreciate it. Oh, your subconscious mind perceives more than your conscious mind. And your peripheral over here is largely attuned to your subconscious. So it's easier to see an entity moving in your peripheral over here than when you look directly at it. Because when you look directly at it, you shift from that subconscious view to a conscious view. And because of that, now you're not perceiving the entity. That's pretty much all it is. That's why you get so many reports of people seeing weird things out the corner of their eyes, but when they look, it's not there. Because at any given point, there's entities all around us. It's just we're not perceiving. But the corner of your eye just means it's that peripheral, where if you're looking straight ahead, you can kind of vaguely see what's over here. That would be out the corner of your eye. I hope that made some sense. And again, I'm sorry I'm trying not to bounce the camera here, people. I really am. I apologize. Although I'm liking filming down here. The setup's real easy, and I'm not cooking. I might have to do my shoots down here in the summers. I might have to discuss with the wife about decorating one of these walls for shooting a bit better. Maybe put the Dragon's Eye Seal throw up behind me or something. Or I might even just leave this one if y'all like it so much. Maybe even get some of the paintings hung up. We'll see. Because this has been the first stream in a long time where I haven't been dying of heat. So it's been kind of nice. If I may ask, has it been too noisy for y'all or anything? Because, again, it's not giving me any sound, and I was worried about the air conditioner. So if there's been background noise or anything, let me know. This is true. This is true. We'll spice things up a bit. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, so we might have us a plan here. We might have us a plan. That's 2 for not too noisy. I appreciate it. Because I was dying upstairs. I just couldn't do it. See, I even ran down here and got me a small glass of water. I'm sure everyone knows that I bought that only for water. I didn't buy it for other items. No jets. They were flying earlier today, but you're right. I haven't heard a jet in a few hours. I guess they finished their flights early today, so that's nice. And actually, I think the jet noise is less down here because upstairs is closer to it. So I think it would even muffle it down here more. So we might be onto something down here, people. Dennis, my man, appreciate it. A funny experience with an entity if I had. Well, I had plenty of those. Shoot, let me think here. Trying to think of a good one that YouTube won't hit me with here. Let me think. Okay, this is one that I can't get out of my head. And I kind of wish I could, but I can't. But I was in my sanctum working with Odin one time. And Freya and Hel joined us, as did Azazel. It ended up becoming a small beach party. So my guardian dragons were there. So was my co-magician dragon. And at one point, even Baron Samdi showed up. And for the most part, it was pretty chill. We was just sitting back, talking, swapping stories, sharing information. It was really good time. And then out of nowhere behind me, have you ever heard the song "I'm Sexy and I Know It"? that starts playing. And so I'm listening to this, and I just get this impulse to turn around, and it's right at that part in the song where they start saying wiggle, 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 yeah, and they do the little dance move. So I turn around, and God help me if I don't see my two guardian dragons on their hind legs dancing, doing that dance, and the Baron right between them doing that dance. And yes, they were wearing the Speedos or banana hammock, whatever those particular underwear that were in the video were called, or bathing suits, I'm not sure. And oh my God, I just lost it. I did. I did not expect to turn around and see that. I didn't want to turn around and see that. But yeah, anytime the Baron shows up, him and those two guardians, they get along really well. And it doesn't take much for him to encourage them to do goofy things. There's been more than a few times where an entity has asked me to help them with a task of some sort. Yes. That's not an uncommon thing when you build a relationship with entities. In fact, some people view that as the downside because friendships go two ways. Friendships don't just go one way, and that's an important thing to remember. If you expect a friend to help you out, they're going to ask you. But they're also going to focus on your skill set, what you're good at, the things that you can accomplish. They're not going to hand you something you can't do. 432 Hertz Music too, man. Appreciate it. You can bet I will. I was real nervous about starting the channel and all, but it's been a lot of fun, and it's great to share this info. So you can bet I'll keep on keeping on. That's been my goal, to get the info out to the people. And I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Or Lass, I'm not sure by the name. Cloud gazing, I've never run into a Superman egregore yet, or thought form, but considering how thought forms and egregores can manifest unexpectedly at times, in theory, there might be one running around. Or if one did come into existence, it done something stupid and burned itself out, which is possible because if they exert too much energy too quickly, they can burn themselves out as well. So it's possible, man. I've never personally ran into one. It was hilarious, and I mean, I could not. It took me, Odin, and the rest of us like 30 minutes to stop laughing. If I recall, Hell's the one that stopped laughing first. She was able to collect herself the quickest. The rest of us, not so much. Funny fact, though, Azazel's the one that had the most trouble collecting himself. I would have thought Azazel would be the more, get himself proper first. But no, he did not. Well, I'll have to talk to my emote maker to see if we can get a dragon dance emoji. I don't think we could do the dragon dance and a Baron emoji in the same thing, so we might have to just split them up, but we'll see what we can do. Because I do like the dragon dance emoji idea. Camden, I have to agree. I would probably crack up too if I bumped into Superman. I really would. That's the only reaction I can think I would have. Either that, or I'm going to look at him flying by like Jack Sparrow looking at the black pearl as it sails past in a desert. That little what the? Because that's just not some stuff you expect to see. But the question is very, very valid because that's stuff people do think about. And if something's going to randomly appear, that's exactly the kind of stuff that's going to randomly appear. So it's actually interesting to think about because I'm a little surprised having the question asked now that I haven't encountered one. Oh, Anubis, great question. How many times a day do I recommend meditation? With my personal students, I actually try to get them to do meditation twice a day. I understand some people can't do that with kids or life in general, but I do try to get them to where they set aside 2 times a day to meditate, morning and evening if at all possible. And I want them to meditate at least, build their practice up to at least 15 minutes each meditation session. Generally, no. I'm not a big offerings guy most of the time. Now, that said, if I'm asking something specific, I don't mind giving a little gift. I am Southern, many of you know. So having a little food or drink in the work area, it's what I would do with guests anyway. So I do tend to do that. So I don't view it as an offering. It's just, here's this beverage if you want it while you're here. Unless part of my working with them has something to do with an offering or a gift, I really do not do offerings that often. Usually the offerings I do is strictly based on gratitude and friendship. It's not a physical item. Yeah. So I rarely put out offerings. I can't say I never do it, but it's not a big part of my practice. So most evocations, I enjoy having incense burning. So people consider incense an offering. I use it because I like it. It helps me get in that state. And it also, the smoke helps give the energy something to latch onto to help manifestation. Other than that, there's a chalice that I will keep water in, or maybe even share a particular alcohol if I'm wanting to use that night. That's about all I do. I don't get fancy at all. I'm a very simple individual. But it seems to be working for me. It really does. So now that said, with the Clifothic working, the path working I'm following, the sigil activation does require at least like 1 drop of blood. So using a safe diabetic lancet practice, I am doing that because I'm following the path working as written. And I do that with any time I start my research. I follow it as written, and then I go back and start tinkering and adjusting here and there. And since it is invocation and evocation, there's certain things I know I can adjust because I've been doing evocation and invocation so long. But for the most part, I'm trying to stick as close to it as I can so I can get a good result before I start screwing with the vehicle. If that all makes sense. That's a fair list of goals there, Anubis. I mean, working on your sanctum is actually going to help you build up your astral travel already. Because the sanctum actually does exist within that astral. So when you're at your sanctum, you are in a mild form of astral travel. Cloud gazing, I've not actually found any personally. And I know this is like a big blasphemy for most people, but the only incense I ever buy is dragon's blood. Dragons adore it, and it really boosts all magic. So I just buy bulk because, again, I'm lazy. I don't want to have to store multiple incenses. But I also have magicians. They just use the incense they like. One girl, she uses it's an incense called like Moon Rain or something. It, magically speaking, it wouldn't really have many uses, I wouldn't think, other than the word moon, maybe. And that's the only one she uses. So I've never encountered one that is a not to be used. Yeah, I do keep dragon's blood resin on hand. I don't tend to use it as incense as much, mainly because I don't want to deal with the charcoal. And since we are in military housing, if I screw up the carpet, I kind of have to replace it. But so I lean toward using the cones for most of my work and research. It's cheaper, quicker, and easier. But now, when I get a chance to use the resin, I love to use it. Nothing wrong. Everybody's got their thing. I mean, incense addiction is not the worst one you could have. Felitel, yeah, I do work with my higher self and personal aspects. Most of that I do through shadow work and stuff like that. But at the same time, as you move higher in dragon magic, most of the higher rulers, they really start focus you in on that higher self. But the way they do it, where a lot of practices, there's you and there's your higher self. In dragon magic, they don't want these things separate. They want them as a singular whole. And so in working with them, you're actually working on merging and becoming that whole, if that makes sense. But I do it, probably not in most traditional ways that other people do it, but I do it. And I actually have enjoyed it. I really didn't understand the process too well until I started applying it. I don't think talking about it really does it justice. But I do know that's something that I don't know if we were going to directly touch on it or if it's just going to kind of happen naturally, but it should be within the Dragon Magic 103. Dennis, it is true in the fact that a clean house energy moves easier through. So if energy's moving, it's not going to become stagnant, and non-stagnant means clean. So yeah, it does help energy flow and keep moving easier. And luckily, cluttered isn't a dead set on stagnant energy because our house is cluttered. I don't know if he likes rosemary. I've not particularly asked him on that one. I do know he likes dragon's blood though. He actually does enjoy the dragon's blood cones I buy. In fact, I did an evocation with him where I used, I think it was sage incense cones because it's all I had. And he made a comment that he missed the dragon's blood cones and he hoped I'd get it before next time. Dragon's blood oil is nice. I did some candle making for a while, and I made a lot of dragon's blood candles because I had someone just give me like this bulk thing of the oil. What do you mean? Do I give any good messages? Oh, do you mean, do I put a good word in for the student? I have occasionally done that. Or if students wanting to work with a particular entity, I might reach out to the entity first and see if the entity's interested. But yeah, I have been known on occasion to put in a good word for them. I don't always do it. So, for example, like if you take my Dragon Magic 101 course, obviously I can't go to every ruler and be like, hey, this person just signed up. And in a lot of ways, sometimes you have to make that initial contact blind. That's really, in some ways, the best way to grow. There's lessons you can learn by making contact blind that you can't really get if that introduction is made. So I don't make it a habit, but there have been occasions where I have made that introduction or put in that good word. So, because I try to train my students to be self-sufficient. The dragons taught me, and well, that's a big thing for the Norse as well. So, yeah, I try to pass that on to my students. Because I don't want to train a student who's going to call me 24 times a day every time they want to do something. I want to train a student who becomes a colleague. At least that's my mentality. My view is my goal is to train them at least to be my equal, if not better than me, because I hope the next generation goes further than I can with magic. If that makes any kind of sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. So if you have any last minute questions, go ahead and post those here, and I'll clear out the last few. And remember, if you do have any paranormal or cryptic encounters or weird experiences that you want to share and you're willing to have them shared on the YouTube channel, write them up in detail, because I don't want to have to actually fill in the details and, expand upon it to make it interesting. So write them up in story format as best you can. And email those to me at workingdragonmystic@gmail.com. And as soon as I get a website specifically for these, or an email for them, I'll let y'all know that too. But email those to me, and I will work those in, because I'm wanting to get these videos started. And I do have a good stack of stories from my private practice and what people's already submitted to me over the years, so no big deal there. And yeah, pop over to Discord after the ramblings. There's a after ramblings channel and of course general channel. Most of us are in there goofing off at one point or another. Occasionally you can catch some of us even in the voice chat. And though enter voice chat at your own risk. It gets weird in there sometimes. But it's also a lot of fun. Take it easy, Nomar. It's been great having you. And everyone, I do appreciate your support of this channel and the work I do in trying to get this information out to the seekers. It means a lot to me. And every day I am grateful and thankful to see this channel doing what it's doing and reaching the people it is, because I was the skeptic. I did not think this would work. So thank you all very much for that. And I am still working to get Linda back to the Magical Coffee Hour. Till then, we'll continue doing the Sunday streams as the solo Magical Coffee Hour. But I'm planning on contacting Linda tonight or tomorrow to see where we're standing on that. So hopefully Sunday I can give you all an update, okay? With that, everyone, stay curious and keep on searching for that knowledge, and I'll see you next time. Take care.